Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast that we bring you each and every day on YouTube. Head over there, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions show are available through Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. And if you'd like to contact the show, it's the Upper Tier Podcast at gmail.com. We're also available on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Joining me tonight for a Ukraine versus the Republic of Ireland preview, a man who hasn't been on in a while, but has decided to come back on, has rebounded in now that the Ireland team is starting to play a bit of football. Ben, how are we?
Not bad yet.
Good to have you on. Where do we begin? Two very poor performances against Armenia and a really poor Ukraine second string. But we went out against Scotland the other day, firing on all cylinders, and put on a hell of a performance.
Yeah, I missed it actually. I was in work, but I was watching bits of it, and yeah, they said it was much better actually. The changes were good, I thought.
Yeah, well, the game on Tuesday is coming to you from Poland, from Lodz. It's obviously a neutral ground with everything that's going on with the war at the moment between Russia and the Ukraine. But what was your feeling? One of the comments you made to me the other day, and I think I made it to you as well, was that we actually picked a team where we played footballers who were actually playing football in their respective clubs.
Yeah, you see, like the Ireland team, it's a weird one because you know half the team don't really play football for their clubs. Like if you think some of the big names, like Kelleher, Duffy, like brought up there, Kelleher, Duffy. No, they don't really play. Jeff Hendrick, they don't really play for their clubs. But see that team there, they actually play football for their clubs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think with Callagher, it's kind of a different one because he's around a certain quality of player, even when he's training. He's at the top end of the Premier League. Duffy as well came back after a poor spell with Celtic, but has had a reasonable season for Brighton. But then if you look at the other players that have gone in there, he's kind of selected a kind of a footballing formation there with a 3-5-2. And it was nice to see Parrott in there as well, and Jason Knight has been playing well, and we know how good Malumbi can be. And Alan Brown had a brilliant game the other day against Scotland. I mean, most of these guys had a great game against Scotland the other day. That was the lineup, and you would expect that to be the lineup that he would go with. Would you expect him to stick with that lineup?
I think Duffy and Egan they're suspended because they got the yellow cards and stuff. So you'll obviously have to change the back line a bit, but midfield forwards, I'm not sure about Obafemi if he's injured or not, but I think he got a niggle, so he might be alright. But say midfield probably stay the same, yeah.
Yeah, he's saying here the latest team news here is Shane Duffy is suspended, and Obafemi has picked up a groin injury, so he may not make it. Um, Josh Cullen as well has played 3 games in succession. So has Dara O'Shea. Jeff Hendrick has come on, and Callum Robinson could all be drafted back into the starting lineup. Um, I think if he's forced to change this lineman up, it's a shame because I mean after such a great performance against Scotland, he would have been hoping, I suppose, to stick with the same lineup. Because it really, really was a very, very good performance. Um, but yeah, he's going to be forced into some changes, obviously. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles them. But I mean, coming into the game on Saturday, I mean, Stephen Kenny would have been under a lot of pressure, wouldn't he? I mean, the results have been poor. Um, we were talking about it earlier, and we were saying what was the last competitive win was what 2015 or something like that, 7 years ago or something like that, or and that like he
Well,
was
no,
really really struggling. Go
they
on.
bet Luxembourg in November.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Mm. But
But they were saying that he was really struggling. I mean, if you look at his record at the moment, it's about. I think when I looked at it the other day, he has a win record of about 23 to 25% or so, which is half what he had at a club level in the Irish League and stuff like that. So he's really been struggling in terms of results. Now, having said that, I said he did come in on the back of the Martin O'Neill era and stuff like that, and Mick McCarthy. And I know Martin O'Neill didn't do him any favours really in terms of getting players over the line. We obviously missed out on Jack Grealish and we missed out on Declan Rice, where we really should have got them signed up when we had the chance. And that also, well, Martin O'Neill during his era as well, he stuck with a lot of players that were really past it at that stage, and he should have really been bringing in youth, which he never really did. So for Stephen to come in, he had to come in and he really had to change the squad, turn it upside down, and start bringing in that youth and blood in it and stuff like that. Also, he was trying to change the style of play as well. The style of play under Martin was quite blunt. Now, we know at times we've had success with some of that Route 1 football and stuff like that, but Stephen's trying to instill a kind of a football mentality, which is that kind of new age of international football, really. And there was some doubts after the Uruguay game, or the Ukraine game. People were saying, well, should he be playing that Route 1 football and getting us results and grinding out results? Or should he be sticking with what he's trying to do, which is change the football philosophy? Um, I suppose as a manager, you live and die by your results and stuff like that. But we can kind of see what he's trying to do, can't we?
Yeah, I think like he's bringing good ideas into the Ireland team because it's kind of been not great for the past 5, 6 years or so. Kind of been mismatch. Like Mick McCarthy did well when he came in, but it was still the same like Route 1, like Shane Duffy in the box kind of stuff. Like very rarely we score goals. But then again, he did get us to a Euro like playoff. So you have to put that in perspective. But yeah, I think Steven's better, like,
Yeah, well,
because he has like he's trying to like when I used to watch Ireland matches, you wouldn't be excited because the football is just so poor. But like when you watch Ireland games now, like obviously international football is like debatable, like it's not great for most of the time. But like you still get excited because like the football he's trying to play is nice. Like
yeah, well, you're seeing it there on Saturday. I mean, once the crowd is behind the team and the team is playing well, and we can see what they're doing, and they're playing a brand of football that we can appreciate. It's amazing how the crowd can lift the team and how well they played and stuff like that. And honestly, the 3-0 against Scotland really flattered them, really, because it could have been a hell of a lot more. I thought we played some really lovely football. But now you're looking at a situation, if you look at the potential starting lineup now for the Ukraine, and albeit the Ukraine now are going to have a couple of key players back and stuff like that, they were missing players for the first game. So that's going to be a concern as well, where the quality of that team is going to come up. Yarmolenko's going to come back in. Zinchenko off Man City's going to come back in. These are key players for them and stuff like that. That would make a huge difference. So, but if you look at the Ireland side, I mean, if you were thinking between, like, I know Kelleher's going to start obviously, but if you were thinking between Kelleher and Bazuna, who are your favourite there if both were available?
well, I think Bazuna's done more for Ireland. He's played a few more. Like I think he seems better because he's played more and he's looked a bit more comfortable. Keller can be like a bit uncomfortable sometimes, kind of just hoofing it and stuff. He hasn't really made like outstanding saves, I would say.
I
He
thought
hasn't really like
his distribution on Saturday was brilliant. I was talking to the guys during the game and stuff like that, and I was saying to them that the way he was distributing the ball out, the way he was throwing the ball out to the midfielders and stuff like that, it was very like Allison, really, very like Allison at Liverpool. So it looked really, really impressive. But he'll get the nod anyway on Tuesday against the Ukraine. Then you've got Egan, Collins, O'Shea, and Brown. I thought Brown was absolutely brilliant on Saturday. He absolutely ran the game. Jason Knight was outstanding as well. But Hendrick will come back in. And this is always a bone of contention with Irish fans in terms of Hendrick. What's your feeling there?
I don't know if he will come in to be honest, because I don't know, like he seems to slow the game down a lot. Like he's a good passer and stuff, and he'll work hard and stuff, but he just I don't know, there's something about him, like he's slow. He's kind of getting on. He doesn't really play football for the club. Like he was on loan at QPR, I think. And he made like 10 appearances or something over the whole season. That's not really like
Like, he kind of struggles to move the ball quick enough. And it kind of
yeah,
slows things down.
he's he can be brilliant, like, but like we saw in the Euros and when he first came in 2016, he was a great like he was energetic. He was going forward. He nearly scored against Italy. He's just I don't know. I think he's slowed down a bit over the years. I think he's gotten too comfortable with the Irish team, maybe.
Yeah,
Probably
it's
like
been
two
kind of
points.
he's been a regular there without being challenged. But
Yeah, but now
certainly
there's probably better younger players out there. Like Josh Cullen, he plays each week for Anderlecht. No, they're
mm,
Europa League team. They'd be much better than his quality. Like,
yeah, absolutely. So then you round it out with Malumbi, McLean, Robinson, and Parrott. This would be a big game for Robinson, wouldn't it?
yeah, I think he's had a poor window so far. I thought kind of a poor Armenia. He didn't really do much against Armenia. It was more Bene. He was great doing the strings, but like he had a couple of shots against Armenia, but nothing really write home about. Uh, Against Ukraine, who's questionable getting a penalty. He could have, remember, man fouled him in the box. It could have been a penalty, but oh no, he doesn't do much. He kind of needs to score a goal and then he'll get confident, I think.
Yeah, it'll certainly be an interesting lineup if that's what he goes with against the Ukraine, especially with them drafting players back in. In terms of prediction, what would you be thinking?
I wouldn't get too confident about it because it's still very like Ukraine. They have a like that was their second team last time and they battered us for most of the game. So I wouldn't be
Yeah,
like very confident, but maybe like a 1-1 draw, maybe a draw
yeah.
probably, or a Ukraine win.
I'm just looking at the table here. I'm gonna go for what am I gonna go for? I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Ireland win. And
Confident.
I think I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Ireland win. And what that will do is it will draw us level. It will draw us level with the Ukraine at the top of the group, both on 6 points. So a win against the Ukraine tomorrow night will bring us right back into it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, what's the goal difference like? Because scored three, so it might
Yeah,
go top, would it?
our goal difference. No, our goal difference is 1, and their goal difference is 4. So, but I wouldn't be worrying about goal difference at this stage. I just like us to get back into the actual situation in that group. You know what I mean? Because a loss tomorrow night puts the Ukraine on 9 and leaves us on 3, which is doomsday scenario, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we have Scotland away and then Armenia at home.
Yeah.
Is it?
Scotland away would be a tough one. I think Scotland away would be a different proposition to Scotland at the Aviva.
Yeah, so probably
Armenia home, we should be okay. We should do a better job than we did.
yeah, should be though.
Okay, so here we go. In the event tomorrow night that we were to lose, um, what happens with this guy?
Still think he keeps his job
Are you,
because
are you of the opinion? Would you stick with him all the way through to the up and coming campaign?
yeah, I'd stick with him until after the Euro 2024 campaign because isn't his contract after that or is it what? I think his
I think
contract.
he's contracted all the way up to that qualifying campaign.
I think depends how that group is. That Euro qualifier campaign, if that's like a tough group, two decent teams in it, and like let's say we got third or something or got into a playoff and maybe we lost, I'd still stick with them. But if it was like fairly average group, I think we should be like coming second at least, getting a playoff and potentially winning that.
You'd
You know?
expect it to be a tough group, though, wouldn't you, based on our current ranking? I mean, our seeding in the system must be way down at this stage.
Yeah, I think they're like 47th or something in the world, like nearly, yeah, like close to 50. So you'd be fairly low.
So you would expect them to get, by definition, you get a tough group based on that ranking, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, is it like we put performances in against good teams? Like we nearly bet Portugal over there for our 2 last-minute goals. Drew with them at home, 0-0. Bet Scotland there. So like we're not bad against the big teams. It's just small teams. We need to, you know,
Yeah, I think what
show
happens
some
is when
relief.
he goes on a bad run and everyone is kind of thinking Stephen Kenny out and stuff like that, the team suddenly pulls off a great performance, And I said it even when I was on a transfer show the other night with a shout out to Del Boy Gunner TV. Derek was on with me, and I was saying to Derek, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we went out and walloped Scotland, even though we were so poor against Armenia and the Ukraine. I mean, in reality, we should be sitting top of this group now, shouldn't we? If you look at our Scotland performance, if we put that performance on against that second string Ukraine and against that Armenian side, there's no reason in the world why we shouldn't have 9 points at this stage and be well out of reach of people. But again, it's always the Irish way, isn't it? That we kind of struggle, we grind out kind of stuff. We're always waiting on someone to do us a favour. We never take control of our own destiny at times and stuff like that. It's always a real struggle.
Yeah, I think against Armenia, kind of went into the game already thinking we'd won. So going in there, like obviously, like I've played in games where I thought we'd win before we even kicked the ball, and you'd lose. Like shit, like stuff happens, but you should be beating Armenia. Even a draw, like you shouldn't be losing 1-0 to like Armenia. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a group where I'm sure Stephen would have looked at it and he would have said this is a group where we could get a nice run of results here, and we should be fairly confident going into this group. And it just started out so poor with the first two games. But I think if we can finish the group out and put on more performances like that one against Scotland, I think we'll do all right. I think if we perform the way we did against Scotland against the Ukraine, I think we could get a win. And I think if we got that win, especially away from home against a tough Ukraine side, I think that could propel us into the other two fixtures as well, and we could do really really well. Obviously Scotland away is obviously going to be a tough one because they normally play really well up there and stuff like that. So it'll definitely be a different proposition. Albeit Scotland looked really poor the other day in the Aviva. They just looked lost for ideas. And it's not like they don't have quality players. There is quality players in there. And Clark, he's generally a decent coach. You know what I mean? He tends to know his stuff. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's a huge game tomorrow, against the Ukraine, and I just get the feeling if we don't get the result that we need, that there's going to be questions over Stephen Kenny again.
I think if like not Ogbene, Obafemi, if he's fit, I think he could do some damage. But same time, like if he's not fit, like there is options there, like Parrott. I think Ogbene's injured, Robinson, but he had such a good game that you don't want that momentum to be lost. Like you want to keep playing, keep getting the goals up.
Yeah, it'll be just interesting to see how severe the groin injury is, because groin injuries normally take a bit of time to heal and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But he seemed, even if you look at his post match interview the other day, he was really excited about playing for the team and stuff like that. You know, and even when the reporter asked him, "Where did you think that energy came from?" And he says, "Sure, it came from me." So he was really
Yeah,
cool that
man.
way. You know, it was a cool interview, and it was an unbelievable goal that he scored. Fantastic goal.
Yeah, even
Um,
seeing the commentary for it as well. Your man, fucking screaming about it.
yeah, as it should be, as it should be. Well,
That's
listen,
probably one of the best goals in the Aviva ever. Like probably the best goal ever in the Aviva. One
yeah,
of them.
definitely one of them. Yeah, wouldn't be up there now with a few that were scored in Lansdowne though, but sure, that's way before your time. Well, listen, we look
Yeah.
forward to the game tomorrow night. This is the upper tier, and this has been your preview: Ukraine versus Ireland. Ireland, massive game in the Nations League. Nothing but a win will suffice for us tomorrow night. So I hope we come out on the front foot again and really put the ball around and move the ball much quicker and bring that energy again, and don't drop off again the way we did in the first two games. If we can get a win under our belt, it really gets us and sets us up well, you know. And it'd be nice for Kenny to get a few results under his belt as well. He's obviously working very hard with the lads, but obviously it's a difficult situation for him as well there, as he tries to overhaul the squad and also create a new system and a new idea and a new culture of football playing for the Ireland side. You know, it's difficult to bring in change like that, especially after years of playing a certain way. But we wish them well. We hope they do well, and we want them to be successful, because when the Irish team is doing well, the country does well as well. So onwards and upwards. So we look forward to it. Listen, thanks a million for coming on. Really appreciate you coming on.
No
And
problem.
no doubt we'll talk after the game.
Yeah.
Cheers, bro.